Welcome back to the channel. Thank you guys for hanging with me on this Friday. And if you've taken some time out of your busy schedules to support my channel by hitting that like or subscribe button, thank you. All right, so conventional fishing is kind of outdated when you think of tournament competitive fishing. Anything you see on TV, forward-facing sonar basically dominates that. Most lakes are being dominated by that unless you have really big fish that live shallow. Forward-facing sonar is going to be the winning technique, and something revolving around forward-facing sonar is going to be where most of the money is won. That's just the unfortunate reality that we're all living in competitive fishing. But I want to talk more about, if you're just going to the lake, what you will find now with the state of bass fishing as a whole. And I will say this, I think conventional fishing methods are not necessarily easier or better or anything like that, but I do feel like you have more of those spots that you would just naturally conventional fish if it's a shallow cover or the bank or something like that. I do think that you have a lot more of that to yourself, which is important because you're not being told where to go by boating pressure. The other fishermen on the lake aren't dictating your outcome because you try to go to this spot and there's a boat there, and then you go to your next spot and that whole creek, the 3 or 4 spots in it that you wanted to fish, you can't get on. So for that, I think it's very important to note that any time in bass fishing when you have these monumental changes that we've been dealing with for the past 3 years, it's going to change the fishing. I think what a lot of people thought was everyone out middle of the lake shaking a minnow, the bank fishing is going to become a lot better. Not true. Not really what I've seen or witnessed in this past 3 years, because I think a lot of those fish that we do catch on the bank are being pressured out there. But I will say this, in a tournament situation, big tournaments, 100+ boat tournaments, it's becoming more and more of a reality that you get to choose where you go. We go back 3 years, that wasn't the case. A lot of days, especially on the lakes I fish around the Tennessee River, Lake Gunnersville, you would have to go to 5 or 6 spots before you could get on a spot that you wanted to fish. And if you were fishing something that was very obvious, like a springtime pattern around spawning fish or around staging fish or something like that, you were typically sharing those spots with a couple other boats to start with. You would stay there for a little bit, one of the boats would leave, but then you would spend like hours within, a little longer than a cast away from another boat. That's not happening to me anymore. So I think that's important when you start thinking about how you want to go fish. Do you need to rig up a bunch of finesse things? It's not necessarily like that, in my opinion. I don't think you do have to always be worried about sharing places, getting fish to bite that don't want to bite. They've seen a lot of baits in that area. I don't necessarily think the fish are seeing as many baits on the bank as they were 3 years ago. Have they been caught less? No. Have they been fished for less? Absolutely not. They've probably been fished for more. But when they get to these shallow spots, it just seems like I'm seeing bigger bass show up in places where I've never caught bigger bass. So there's something going on. Now, I want to hear your guys' feedback on this, because this is very important. When you get on the cutting edge of something, you get on the front of a curve, it's very important to figure out what's going on and run with that, because that's how tournaments are won. Whoever figures out something before everyone else, and it is a secret for a while or a short time, however long, and you can go and do it, that's how you dominate. And that's basically what we're seeing with forward-facing sonar, is the guys that are really good at it, they're dominating. Will that plane off? I don't know. But what I am saying is there are bigger fish up shallow that have not been fished for, and you're not dividing them up with other fishermen like you did 3 years ago. So I want to hear your guys' feedback on that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the water.